how many of you guys were here last year for our new product symposium? Cool. So a few of you. So you may recall that we launched this next generation driver bit, which launched which composed of 3 new to market innovations: the precise fit custom machine tip, the custom alloy 76 steel, which is the material composition, as well as the optimized shock zone, both by tip type and bit length. So this was really just phase 1. Phase 2 is launching this year, and will be composed of over 50 new SKUs. So we're actually going to spread these innovations across other categories within our Shockwave line, including magnetic bit holders, socket adapters, double-ended power bits, as well as high piece count, high value kits, and other contractor packs, which are going to be really geared towards the trade. So growing trends in the trade right now in driving are torques, T20, T25. So we want to make sure that we have the solution that's necessary and really is the right solution for the users. All those products on that staircase, including the other few that make up that 50, are all going to launch in September of 2016. So as mentioned, socket adapters are receiving that update in 2016 as well. So through job site research, we found the #1 user frustration of a socket adapter was breakage in the shank through common fastening applications. By taking that optimized shock zone, we are actually able to get increased strength, durability, and overall torque absorption within our socket adapter compared to our current generation. So I actually have a demonstration here to show what your users are really asking for, which is to prolong that life of that socket adapter so that shank does not break prematurely. So first, what we have here as far as the demonstration is going to be an accelerated life test. We're going to take one socket individually and place it shank first into this block. It's a hex shank block, so basically it's going to keep that shank tight. And if you guys were here last year, it's very similar to that twist demo we did for the Shockwave bits. The force will be applied to the very top, and the stress will be located at the very top of this, the shank area, which is where they're going to be most prone to breakage. So first up is going to be our current generation socket adapter without the optimized shock zone. We have Allie here who's also going to time, just so we can get a good reference point. So 3, 2, 1. What do we have there for time?
15 seconds.
15 seconds on the money. So next up is going to be our next generation socket adapter, which has that optimized shock zone for increased strength, durability, and overall torque absorption. 3, 2, 1. About 30 seconds?
31 seconds.
Cool. So for the sake of time, we're going to leave it at 30 seconds, but for consistent results out of this test, we're seeing 2.5 minutes. Proving that by adding that optimized shock zone, that socket adapter is getting increased strength, durability, and torque absorption, which leads to the prolonged life of that socket adapter up to 30x the life of our current model. So moving on to reamers. It's really no secret that Milwaukee innovates products for the core trades, and this conduit reaming bit holder is no exception to that rule. So for those of you that aren't familiar with conduit applications, this is a piece of conduit, and professional electricians will have to cut this down to fit sizes in the wall for whatever that job is, or that application is. They'll use a bandsaw, metal cutting saws, sawzalls even, which will all leave burrs on the ends here. Now before you can actually install that into a gang box or run electrical wire through it, you need to deburr the end of that. So we also call that reaming. So there's 2 main solutions in the market right now, one of which is like a reaming screwdriver like this. Very manual process and very time consuming. It can even lead to user frustration, user fatigue. So it's not optimized for that professional that's reaming on an hourly basis, day in and day out. So for those users and those professionals that have found out that that's really not the most optimized solution, they've stepped up to a conduit reaming bit holder. Now this has definitely resolved that issue or that frustration on the job site of speed of reams. So this will complete it much faster. However, all competitive designs have some flaws, including overall durability within the actual blade itself, and the necessary length that is needed to complete common fastening applications like this conduit clamp in the picture here beside it. So without that length and without that durability, there's a lot of frustrations with the users right now. So Milwaukee being Milwaukee, we went back and we understood all of those frustrations and we wanted to make some solutions. So we came out with our conduit ring and bit holder, which has a thicker blade that's going to be made out of hardened tool steel, which will give us up to 5 times the blade durability compared to our competitors. You can also see that we have a much longer bit here, bit holder on the end. This is going to give us that necessary reach for completing those common fastening applications like that conduit clamp, or fastening the gang box to the steel studs, or even that conduit coupling to fasten that EMT into the gang box. So this is going to launch in November of 2016, and it will also have a complementary SKU, which is going to be a replacement blade SKU. So again, in November 16, your users, or your readers, will be able to get their hands on the best reamer in the market that can both ream and fasten with one accessory. Now finally, I'd like to introduce a full line solution of locking bit holders. So in January of 2017, we are going to launch 4 lengths of bit holders, being compact, 6-inch, 12-inch, and the first in the driving bit space to offer an 18-inch locking bit holder solution. As you can see by these images here, they're all going to have the optimized shock zone. So they're going to have increased durability and overall torque absorption within that locking bit holder. Also on the bottom of this POP, you might see that Shockwave impact duty tombstone. That's going to show you that it's going to have that impact durability. You can throw these locking bit holders into that impact and it's going to perform exactly how it's intended to perform. Now with a locking bit holder, there is a distinguished step-up strategy between a C-ring bit holder and a locking bit holder. And it's due to the mechanism by which that bit is going to be locked into place. So as you can see here with this C-ring bit holder, I just pulled that bit out quite easily. That's not what the user's looking for with a locking bit holder. They're putting money in and investing in a locking solution so that they can keep that fastener fastened or locked into that locking bit holder. Common application for this would be in automotive with large sockets. When they're trying to pull that socket off, they want to make sure that socket adapter stays in during the application and while switching from socket to socket. Now with our premium locking mechanism, we're actually able to get over 30 pounds of hold force for our locking bit holder, meaning that it would take more than 30 pounds of force to pull that bit out accidentally on the job site. To put that into perspective, the average person that we tested with in the office could only pull about 28 pounds on average. And again, this is in excess of 30 pounds. So more than the average person can actually pull. Now, equally important to the overall acceptance on the market of a locking bit holder is going to be the functionality. Now, I would define functionality as really how the user will interact with that locking bit holder. Now, to start things off with, obviously you're going to be throwing some driver bits in these locking bit holders. And there's 2 main shanks in the industry. One is a power groove shank. If you guys don't know what this is, it's got a little shank or a notch down here which allows it to be inserted directly into an impact or thrown into a bit holder. Now, if they're not using that, they will more than likely be using an insert. Now, this is going to be designed specifically for bit holders. These are both very popular on the job site, so you would think that every locking bit holder solution on the job site would lock on both of these shank styles, right? However, a very quick look at the competition, they're all going to lock on that power groove, because they're all mostly going to be optimized for wood boring SKUs, which are all going to have that power groove shank. However, a quick look again, and they're not going to lock on our insert magnetic nut drivers, which is going to be just a simple insert shank style. Now that's going to be viewed as an incomplete solution to your readers because they're going to be using, again, these inserts and power grooves on the job site. So again, incomplete. Secondly is going to be the overall functionality of the collar itself. So looking at all the competitive designs, they're all going to be pulled to release collars. Meaning that when you're switching from bit to bit on the job site from a P2 to a T25 back to a P2 application, you need to switch from bit to bit to bit. So when you're doing that, it's extremely important to make sure that it's easy to do one-handed because you can be on a ladder or a lift, so safety becomes an issue. With all competitive designs, they're all pulled to release. So your hand will naturally move away from that driver bit, making it extremely difficult to remove one-handed. Now again, at Milwaukee, we do things a lot differently. We see all these frustrations through job site visits, and we understand that we need to come out with solutions. So again, with our locking bit holder, we're able to lock on both power groove and insert. That's the #1 step in a locking bit holder. Secondly is going to be that overall collar design. So instead of having the standard pull collar, we're going to have a push to release collar. So you're going to push, and then your hand is naturally going in the same direction of that driver bit, making it extremely easy to release one-handed. Now the third and final piece to the overall functionality side is going to be magnetization. Magnetization is extremely key in order to hold the fastener on the end of the driver bit that's locked into the locking bit holder. With our Milwaukee design, we have an interior dual magnet design, which allows that magnetism to pass from the locking bit holder through the driver bit to the fastener, which you can see here. This eases that overall frustration on the job site of drop fasteners. So obviously that's going to be an extreme benefit to your users. Looking at the competitive landscape, we have a ring magnet. Now this is going to be quite good at holding fasteners, however it's going to increase the overall outside diameter, making it much tougher to fit into tight access areas. So a slim profile design comes in very handy. With our Milwaukee slim profile design at 15 millimeters, we're 2 millimeters smaller than the leading competitor. So this is a standard furnace application with a lot of fasteners on the inside. Some are very easy to access, some are very tough, which you can see one here on the bottom or on the side. With our slim profile design, we're able to access all of these fasteners that our competitors cannot. So with the combination of that magnetization, the slim profile design, the large hold force, as well as that functionality, this locking bit holder family is going to be the best solution for locking bit holders for your readers once it launches in January of 2017. So I'm going to pass it off now to Caroline Levens, who's going to talk about steelhead with you guys.
Hey everybody.